Hey everyone, it's Jerry McNulty, the Whistling Willer. How are you doing today? Today we've got a great project for you. We're going to carve Stan. So Stan is another character head. Stan is carved off the flat side, not the corner. So stay tuned, we'll get this going. Please make sure to like and subscribe. We'd also like to give a shout out to our friend Chris Willick at the whittlingShack.com, who's helped us out, and if you need any tools or anything, please reach out to Chris. Tell him Jerry sent you. We also have this awesome book. So Chris at the Whittling Shack just got some new copies of this one, and this is an incredible book for character carving and faces and heads by Mr. Marv Kaiser said. So get you this, look through it. It's got some wonderful hints, and these are things that I use every day as I'm carving. So remember to like and subscribe, guys. Here we go. We're going to get ready and carve a little bit of Stan. Thank you. Okay, let's show you what tools I have today. This is a Blake Lunsford Helvey knife, and this is Signature Series number 1. It's a flat blade, and this one's probably about a little bit shorter than 2 inches, 1 3/4. We've got a couple of flex cut tools. This is a number 8, and it's about 3/8 across, a little bit deeper. This one is a 1/4 inch V tool. This one is a number 3, and it's probably about a 1/4 inch as well. And I've got a 3mm dockyard here. This handle might look strange, but this is a Helvey handle, but the tool is dockyard. It's a 3mm dockyard U. So those are the tools I'm gonna be working with today. Let's get a look at our carving. Now this guy is 4.5. The face is about 2 1/4. Now if you look, this is carved on the flat. So it's not carved on the corner, but that gives you the opportunity to have this full rounded hat here, which you wouldn't if you carved the corner block. The face is already kind of narrow. When you go this way, it's actually, you know, this is an 1.5 inch block, but across this way you've got 2 inches. This way you've only got an 1.5 inch. So our block is an 1.5 inch by 4.5. So we'll get started here. Let's look at this just a little bit. We've got a pretty good neck on him that goes all the way around. He's got a hat that comes down a little bit. It's got a little bit of an angle where it comes up just a tad bit there. The brim, if you look right here, this brim is about equal with the hair and comes out front. So that hat is about perfect fitting in that hat, and that's something we want to keep in mind as we go. And the shirt is really simplistic, just a collar, nothing here, and we just left room for this paint design right here. So mustache, the mustache is almost equal with the sideburns coming down. We may or may not change that as we work on our piece. The shape of these cheeks kind of come down and rounded a little bit. It's not fully rounded, but they do come out from the face. You got a little eye bag here, and then the eyes in here. So it looks like a pretty fun project. We'll see how we can do. So put this guy aside. So I'm going to start with my block here, and I'm carving the face of it. So I'm just going to look at this right here, and it's best to carve on the outer rings of the tree compared to the inner rings, so that the rings get tighter and tighter and tighter as the tree grows out, where the centers will be bigger. So I can kind of see where mine's going, and this is the outer side of the tree. So I'm going to start on this side, and we're starting 2 1/4 down. I'm going to kind of sketch this right here, and we'll start with our knife here, taking a corner out and pulling this jaw out so it stands away from the face. There again, I'm narrowing the corner here, so this front side becomes shorter and easier to work across. If you were just to take your knife right here, that's a lot of pressure, a lot of wood that you're pushing against. It's not that easy. So I'm going to swoop up so we get a neck a little bit as we go. Start swooping this. Get a good neck. I want to put this back pretty far here. Okay, so I'm going to work around the side here. I keep narrowing that so it becomes easier to go across. Coming around the back, but I'm not going to worry about this too much. I'll worry about this other side here. Okay, so I'm looking at, this is the face, the front of the face, and I'm looking at the sides here to kind of make sure that my cuts are kind of even going on both sides, and I'll have a little bit of chance to even them out a little bit as we go. But okay, so now I need to draw my hat, and this hat, in the back, is about 3/4. And I left this here so I know where my back is. So we're looking about there. I'm going to use my finger as a gauge here. Draw a straight line across there, so I can see it on the sides. In my face, the front of my face, it's going to be rounded. I'll do about here. And then all I have to do is connect those two lines. There's a whole gash in my ruler here, so I'm going to choke up on it a little bit. Okay, so now I want to find the center line of this, and this was 1.5 inches, so my center's at the 3/4 line. I'm going to take this and I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to do the same here, 3/4 line right there. Now I'm going to divide this back section in half, and I'm just going to eyeball that. I'm going to come down here like this. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So, and then I also need to find my center line up front here. So I'm going to go ahead and measure it. Okay, so now I need to narrow my face between this line and this line, making stop cuts right here where the hat is so that I don't knock that off. While I'm looking at it, the crease of this hat kind of bends right there at that ear, so it'll probably come in something like that is where we'll come on the hat, but we'll do that when we actually have this and not just guess. So I'm going to do a stop cut here, and stop cut all the way across there as I go. Just pull that line all the way over and narrow this face, kind of making that triangle again. Okay, that's one side. Getting close here. Okay, that's pretty close. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to take a whole lot more off. Just want it to be the same on both sides, so it's looking pretty good there. Okay, so now I want to find the position of where my nose is. I'm just going to hold these guys up, mark it about there, and if I look at that, that's about 1.5 inches down. So the face above the hat is 2 inches, so I've got just a little bit, almost a half up there. So I'll put that line there, but this line also is going to come across here and be the bottom of my ears. And I don't think we'll really have to worry about the top here because we've got that hat coming down. Little space there, but I'm going to push into here, taper that nose back just a little bit underneath it. Then from here, I'm going to take the corner of this nose and angle it back up underneath that hat. So, and if I push down too much, I roll it up a little bit to ease on the amount of material I'm pulling off, and just go deeper after that. I need to work this out, getting rid of that rounded section underneath the hat. Okay. And if you've watched the other videos, you'll see this cut again. So I narrowed this right here off from the nose, but I'm also going to do that same cut on the sides of this as well, extending the sides of the face there, narrowing it at the face just a little bit. Okay. And I want to go building a profile, but that nose goes back a whole lot more. There's a lot deeper of a profile here, so let's keep on going. Pushing this back a little bit more on the sides of the face. Okay, and I'm going to clean this up again. So what I'm not doing is I'm not doing a stop cut there because I don't want a deep knife cut back up in there in case I have to come back and remove more. You end up seeing those knife cuts, and I don't want to do that. So what I am going to do now is angle this in here and get myself the eye line established. So eye line's coming down. Make sure I have a little room up here. We can push this back up if you need more room to put your eyes in there, but I'll do this cut here so it extends the eye line to the side of that. Okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to narrow this right here and take off the material underneath the ears. So I'm going to just do a stop cut. I've got my knife here and I'm just pushing it down underneath to where that ear is. And I'm going to remove this material right here, pushing the stop cut deeper as I go so that the ears pop out from the face. And this is going to be even underneath here, flush. Sometimes if I'm going to make the jaws pop out a little bit, I'll leave room there, but for this one, we're not going to. Okay, I've got a little bit of a reveal here under the ear. We're going to leave it probably about there. I'm also going to take this portion off right here. I'm pushing my knife into that line. I'm pushing my knife into this line up here for the hat, and I can almost take this knife right here and just split it up to where that stop cut is. If it doesn't just click out, your stop cut's not deep enough, and there it goes. I pushed a little bit more and there it popped out. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this looks really long compared to this, so I'm going to make sure that they're the same on each side. And about 3/4 on the back side. A little bit long, but I'll just chop this with the knife. So chop it there. Push there. Make sure the reveal is about the same. It's more on this side, so I'm going to come a little bit more on the here. Take that off. Do my stop cut there. Stop cut here. Move the material here. Okay. So now I'm going to take this V-tool and I'm going to use this line right here, and I'm going to push this back all the way up this side of the ear. Make sure I got a stop cut here and remove this material right here. And do that on both sides. Yeah, you see I kind of got a ridge here, so I'm pulling that off by pulling that V-tool up there. Okay. So now I'm going to narrow this face a little bit right here in front of the ear. So I'm going to take it right here, just a little bit lower than that eye line, and roll this up underneath the face, doing a stop cut underneath that hat. So that just lowered that, removed that out, gave me a cheek. It's doing the same thing here. So a little bit lower than that, that cheek line, pulling up towards the hat, narrowing the face. Get a good clean cut there. Okay. So I'm going to do a stop cut here above the ear and just take off a little material underneath that ear there. Okay, and then I'm going to angle this whole thing back and cut it at an angle. Same thing on this side. Okay. Put this up just a little bit. I'm going to help myself out just a tad bit by removing the corners on the sides of this hat. Okay, so now I'm going to go from this ear right here. I'm going to use that V-tool again. And I'm going to go from the corner of the ear here, and I'm going to push straight down. But I'm angling this V-tool away from this side. Just angling it a little bit this way. And I'm pushing down just right there. Okay, so now I'm going to, let's cut the face back and angle the jawline just a tad bit right here on both sides. Now look in the front, make sure I'm even. I want to round it off just a tad bit. Okay, now we're going to deal with this back just a little bit. So the back, they've got a hairline that comes across Actually, let's go ahead and round this one off too. So I'm going to round that there. I'm going to do a stop cut here and take this corner off. And I'm going to take this corner off here. You got to do that stop cut, otherwise you're just going to go through that hat. You can roll this up to the side here and just keep rolling and removing that material underneath that hat there. It's got a little bit of a profile going back to the hat. So that hairline is going to come down here like this. And let's roll it up at an angle just a little bit as it comes here, just like that. So this neck is going to roll up to that line. So there's a big chunk of material I got to take off here, and I can stab this lower than that stop line, the stop cut is. So I need to make sure and push that stop cut down before I pull that chip out. And I'm just using that plane where the neck is and pushing it up, so that the neck is the plane that I'm cutting, not creating an additional plane underneath here. And I'll have to come in and clean up my jawline a bit. As it comes up underneath there. And I can round this over just a tad bit as I go. Make it look a little natural. Okay, there. So neck's looking round, looks pretty good. I'll have to shape this hair a little bit when I take off the bandsaw marks. And in that I ended up putting a couple gouges in the neck, so I want to clean that up. Okay. So always checking for symmetry as I'm going here, just checking and double checking. Okay. Okay, so now I need to work on this eye line a little bit. So I've got my bigger gouge here, and this was the 3/8, number 8. So I'm going to take this and just use this to go all the way across my eye line. Just giving myself a good bridge on the nose. I have to change direction on this eye so that I'm going with the grain there. So, okay, and there is a bit of material here that I can take off still to fix and give me a little bit more room to get these eyes in here. This is going to be a little bit tight working in there, but I think we can manage. And you can also use let's use this flat gouge here. Just round this up a little bit more. Okay. So now let's get the rest of our nose in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this line here. And let's do a different nose line as we did last time. So I'm going to do that line here. So below this line is the nostril flares. I'm also going to do a little center line here and find where my the bridge of my nose is. So the bridge of my nose is going to be between these two. And you can actually, you know, the face is 5 eyes across. Well, this right here, the bridge of your nose, should equal one of those eyes. So it'll tell you actually how wide your eye should be. You got one here, one here, one here, one here, and then one there. And that actually tells you where your eyes are. But this is character, and I just use that as a reference, and then I exaggerate from there. So I'm going to use this line right here, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bigger gouge here, and I'm going to push up here, take that, stop at that dot and turn, and take the eye line a bit deeper than the side of the nose. So it creates a little ridge there, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. But I've got to come from this way because of the grain direction. Okay. Now I'm going to take this gouge right here, and I'm going to find the edges of my nose, which should be about there. And I'm going to line this corner up with that top of that line. Let's see, actually this gouge is a little bit big, so I'm going to start with the bottom corner here, and so the top one's actually going to be in the air, right like that. And I'm going to stamp this one in here, same way. And all I did was make the impression of the gouge on either side. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this line here that goes in the center, and I'm going to draw out this mustache. Actually, first let me put a sideburn here. A sideburn here, and then use this line to come down this mustache. And he had a curly mustache, so it's going to go up here, and then let's do a center line here, kind of smiling with his mustache. And there's actually a ridge here that I want to take off, so that we see the whole mustache across the profile and not into his face. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take my knife, and I'm going to take it right here and do this stop cut for the top of the mustache. And then I'm going to remove this triangle here, the stop cut on this side from that tool, and then the stop cut from this side from that knife stop cut, and clean out this triangle right here. And that'll pop my nose out a little bit, and I can shape the bottom of it as I want. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Remove some pencil lines here. I'm also going to remove the little bit of material right here underneath that stop cut on the top of the nose, just like that. And then take off the pencil lines. I'm going to swoop a couple nostril flares on here on each side. And there I go. So this top right here for the sideburns, I'm going to go ahead and use a V tool and cut the top of the sideburns, and I'm going to go ahead and just leave that sideburn connecting to the top of the mustache. So, and then from there, let's go ahead and do a stop cut and narrow that face again at the eye line. Taking a chunk there. So I did a stop cut here. I moved the material on this side so it narrowed that eyes even further. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to start the eyes in here, and if you need help with the eyes, go back and watch my last video. I did an eye demonstration here. I'm not going to do one today, but you can go back and check that out. So I've got my corner here, or my dot that I placed for the bridge of the nose. I'm going to start with that. Actually, I need to redo that channel a little bit because it got lost when I narrowed the face again. So one tip that I can tell you right here is if you're tight, working underneath this hat, getting the eyes in here, you can always slant the eyes at an angle. If you can't get it up here, just tilt it just a little bit and it gives you a little bit more room to work in there. I think I've got plenty here, so I'm not gonna mess with it, but I really want to get these eyes down and make them look like they're down in there. So I definitely deepen that eye cavity with my gouge there. Okay, so I'm gonna draw my little dot here, my dot back here. I'm gonna come up straight on the side of the nose. I'm gonna go semi-horseshoe that goes a little bit lower than that dot right there on that side. I'm gonna do the same thing over here, although I'm gonna turn this way so I can get a better view and make sure they're somewhat even. Okay, so I'm gonna stop cut that. I'm gonna push my knife straight in here on that line there, and that's a deep cut. I'm gonna scroll the rest of this to do a stop cut there. I'm gonna move the chip out of this corner, but I'm gonna do a deep cut to do that. So there's a triangle chip that comes out of that corner, so it makes that eye look even deeper going down in there. I'm gonna move the material up against it. There's my initial cut there. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So I'm doing a deep cut, even with the nose. I'm gonna scroll this around like this. Stop cut the rest of that eye. Remove my triangle from the corner there. Remove the material from the side here. I've got the two eye cavities ready to go. I'm gonna do a little bit of a triangle here just to give it a little interest off the corners of the eyes here. So I got those two triangles right there. Then I'm gonna come and do the eyelid right there. And this is just a light scroll on that pencil line on both of them. And I always do both eyes, same step on both sides at the same time. You have a lot better luck making them as even as you can get by doing that. Okay, so now I'm going to do the lower portion of that eye right here. Make sure it matches on that side, and it does. So I'm going to stop cut that line on both sides. Remove the triangle out from the center of it on both sides. There I go, I got some eyes. This guy's gonna look sideways. And we're gonna put some eye bags underneath it. With that, I'm gonna use this 3mm dockyard, and I'm just gonna roll a quick line underneath each eye. And as I hit the nose, I'm upturning it towards the nose. So it's not straight across, it's kind of a rounded portion in there. So I need to remove the material above this mustache so the mustache pops out. So right now the cheeks are higher than the mustache. I want that here, but I don't want that on the end. So what I'm gonna do is about midway, well, I'm gonna start all the way up here and round this. But as I get down here, I'm gonna take a chip out and push that back lower than the cheek. And I've got a little room here because I've got that sideburn coming down, so I can actually take a triangle there. And pushing that way back there. Same thing on this side. I'm gonna start from up here, round that over, take that triangle there. There you go. So let's throw some ears on here. This ear shape here, let's go down like that. Kind of a half of a pear. I'm gonna use my B tool here, and actually, let's go ahead and just stop cut that. I've got my shape, but there's a lot of material here, so let's just take it with a knife. Okay, I've got to separate my sideburn from the ear. I mean, we could just roll a little bit of hair on the ear if we wanted to, but I'm just going to do a straight line here, and I'm going to use that B tool. So then I'm going to let's grab this one, which is that number 3, starting from the top here. I'm going to push down here towards the center and roll it in towards the sideburn. That created a little channel that just went right up underneath there. Clean it up with my knife. I need to put a little bit of angle coming up here. Okay, so now I can take that 3mm about halfway. I'm going to just stamp the mark impression of the tool right in the center there. And then I can take my knife and remove the material up against it, creating a deeper little channel. I've got my little ear flap there. Now I can take my V tool and I'm going to do a line that's coming down, pointing towards the little flap, and it's going to round like this. And I'm going to tilt it away a little bit so it's cutting more on the inside and not into this small ridge. It's like this. That's it. That's the ear. I'll get little pencil marks on here that we can clean up. And you can make sure and round this pretty good. Do a deep stop cut. Give it a lot of depth behind there. Make it look really realistic there. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I did a V cut here. I drew the profile that I wanted, which was that. I ended up coming up a little bit when I did that, so I just wanted to check. So I'm going to stop cut this. Okay, I've got that rounded tool. I'm going to start from the top here, push it down to about the center and roll it in towards the, I need to go deeper. And that stop cut with the V tool was not stop cut enough, so I got to put a knife stop cut there so it comes out easier. And I'll stamp it with, still a little cleanup to do. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it with this tool here. Better go from the right direction. Use that as a stop cut, and I'm going to come with my knife to go around it, remove more material. And this is on a curve, so it leaves fuzzies if you don't come back and clean them up. So, and then I've got to do that little channel here with the V tool. So from this one, I'm going the opposite direction because of the grain direction. So that's it. Let's remove a little material right here. So it's got a rounded profile going up underneath the hat. We'll do a deep stock cut here and remove that so it gives it a deeper profile. So that's looking good back here. Looking good there. This is not angled up as enough from this side, so I'm going to take a little bit more off there. There we go. So let's cut the bottom of this mustache. Stop, cut that whole thing. You could take a V-tool to it. I kind of like trimming it with my knife just a little bit as I go around. Just getting that habit makes me quicker with the knife by doing more with the knife. That when you don't have a V-tool, you can do it anyway. Okay, I've got myself a mustache. Okay, now I need a lip, a bottom lip. So let's, we're gonna probably go about right here. That was our center line, about right there. And let's use this big gouge here. And actually that's about halfway in between what's left here. And that's actually too big, so without getting another tool out, I'm just gonna pull that here. So this lip. And let's go smaller. Then I'm going to come back here and knock this, shape it so that that stands out just a tad bit more. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of a notch here, separating the two sides of his mustache. Let's just do it with a V-tool. There you go. Okay. Okay, so let's narrow this hat band a little bit. I'm going to draw a line here. I'm going to leave this out just a tad bit, but pretty much from the the sideburn line coming back about right there. So from here, I'm going to do a stop cut. I'm going to do a V cut actually. So I'm coming down at an angle here, this way to meet it. And at that, I'm taking down the side of that hat. So same thing here. V, meet it, take down the side of the hat. A little bit more on the side here. A little bit more on the side here. And we're just narrowing the distance when you go across there so that you can go all the way across. So I've got quite a bit there. I can take that down a lot. So just keep a little bit at a time. And the reason why we left this to almost last is because it gets really brittle if you keep going lower and lower and lower. So you want to try to get all your work done underneath it before you really remove a whole lot of material here. So I'm also going to take down the corners off here. Kind of start rounding this off just a tad bit. Got a lot of wood here on the side still. It sticks out pretty far from this hair here. So I can come down and round that quite a bit. And you can leave it blocky if you like. I'm gonna round this just a tad bit, making sure you're hitting every spot, removing bandsaw marks. When you get to this end grain, it's almost trying to cut really thin cheese off it, or slice it as thin as you can across that end grain. And it takes a sharp knife to leave it clean and get it right, but you can do it. So take a couple looks at it, see if it's where you want it. I want to take a little bit from the inside on mine. Remember to clean up all the way around as you go. So I still got quite a bit of material here I can take off. And the more you take off back here too, it gives it that upswing look that's kind of cool. Got a lot of shadows today too. I apologize for that, but let's get the big tools out and really get some material out underneath here. So really this could be done with any tools you'd like. Just really thinning out the hat. And just go ahead and try this hat before you get to a cowboy hat. There's a lot more scooping when you get to that one, but okay. So when I'm done here and I got where I want to be, what I do is do a deep stop cut across the front there, or remove the material underneath it. So it'll look like that head goes into and underneath the hat. There you go. Okay, so let's texture a little bit of this hair here in the sideburns. So not a whole lot of hair on him, got some back here, but I'm going to just go in small little cuts in the angle that I want the hair to be grown. So it's just little cuts that come up the side of the sideburn. I'll do both of them. I'm gonna do the same thing on this mustache. And while I'm here on the mustache, actually, let me pull a little bit off. I do want to make sure the sideburns distinct from the mustache. It's not one spot. So I'm going to pull a little bit of material underneath it just to give it a little bit of a shadow there. I'm also going to take and make some nostril holes there. So a good way to do that, I'm going to do a little center line here. And then I'm going to split the distance between the corner and there and find the center of that. Then I'm going to take this little gouge here and hit it right in that center. I'm going to do the same thing right here on the other side. So I've got a couple little holes there. You can take a smaller tool after that if you like this 3mm, and go right back there and push up on it, twist it, and then remove the chip. And you've got nostril hole that goes way back in there now. But you don't want to do that in one pass if you want to do that. So do it in a couple little passes. So okay, so got a couple little things I want to take off here. I'm going to take this mustache here and I'm going to push my knife down into the mustache and come across and pull out some chips. So it breaks up the plane of that mustache, creating different levels and interest as it goes across here. And I'm going to shorten a couple of these hairs so they don't all land the same way as it goes across the face. So then I'm coming back with my V-tool. I'm going to do some deeper cuts in here. And these aren't even, they're just random. And if I do see something get uneven, I'm trying to mess it up a little bit so that it does not look even as it's coming across there. Do the sideburns the same way. Now, I'm not going to texture this hair back here right now, but it goes similar. Use a bigger tool to make some gouge lines. Come back with a knife, break up the profiles. It leaves the bottom of that neck. And then a V-tool to add some deeper cuts into the work you've already done. That's looking too even there. I'm going to break this up a little bit with my knife. There you go. Ooh, he's getting there. Okay, let's put a shirt on him. Wrap this video up. So with this shirt, I'm going to come down a little bit. I already got this neck on him. Let's take this ridge down just a tad bit. Okay, so let's come down here about center and just roll this neck all the way around this guy. And down. Then we'll have a little bit of a color here. Just like that. So I'm going to do this. Let's do this with a V. Start from the corner here. And I'm cutting straight in. I'm not angling this at all. And this way is probably going to be the easiest way to come across. Just change directions. Okay, so you can come back here and roll this so it doesn't look like there's a ridge. It looks like the neck is coming from underneath the shirt. Then I'm going to do these collars here. I'm going to push my knife in here and do a stop cut, but I'm going to angle it away from this little piece here so I don't break it. So I'm going to angle out towards the collar or towards the shoulder. So there, just stop cut here. Remove that chip. Same thing, angle to the shoulder, stop cut, remove that chip. Let's take our collar around the whole thing. So I'm doing it with a knife here. Then let's swap to our V-tool. Oh, that's actually swooped the whole way. Okay, so I'm just going to roll the color here. Now let me pull the neck out just a little bit thin the neck a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to do that too here. I'm going to Put a deep cut here, deep cut here. Take this neck back just a little bit. There we go. Okay, now we'll V-tool the rest of this here. I think we're not bad. I think we're about there. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Bye-bye.